What's up, everybody? I'm back with Matt Duffner and Justin Wagner today. And we're going to be going through our predictions for Philadelphia Eagles' record this coming season, as well as the entire NFC Eastern Division. So, Justin, I'll start with you. How optimistic are you that Philadelphia is going to win this division this coming season?
I give them 85% chance they're going to win the division this year. The Redskins and Giants aren't going to do much, and Dallas is their only threat. But it depends how healthy they can stay and how well they're going to play. They have a tough schedule, but I think they can play some of these tough teams pretty well. But it's just going to come down to their health at the end of the day.
Duffner, you seem pretty confident. How do you think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to do this year?
I'm 75% on them winning the division, which I think it's a fair number. In regards to the other teams, I think it's Eagles 75. I think it is like Cowboys 3.5%, Giants 1%, and Redskins 0.5%. The Redskins dumpster fire.
Yeah.
I'm personally not a Dwayne Haskins believer.
No, I'm
but
not
I feel, but with Ron Rivera there, maybe he can help him out and get his career. Because Gruden didn't Gruden not want Haskins? Wasn't that an ownership pick?
Yeah, that was an ownership pick.
So Dan Snyder, talk about the worst owner in football.
So bad.
Listen, we give Jerry Jones a lot of crap. I mean, he's not even the worst owner in his own division. So
yeah, at least the Cowboys are competitive every year. Like, everyone makes fun of them, but at least they're competitive. The Redskins haven't been competitive in almost 10 years.
Since RG3's rookie season, no?
Yeah, like 2011, right? 12, something like that.
Yeah, right in there. But back to the Birds. I think they from top to bottom on both sides of the ball, I think they're more talented than the Cowboys overall. But, the Cowboys' offense is absolutely just loaded with superstar talent.
The Eagles.
I think if the Cowboys win the division, they're going to have to probably be top 3 scoring in the league.
I think the Eagles are more balanced overall. Like you said, Dallas's offense is good, but their defense they took some hits in the losses this year, and I think the Eagles are coached better, and they just have more veteran leadership. I think, even though they lost Malcolm, I don't think that's going to kill them in the locker room.
I don't think it will kill them either. It seems like McLeod has taken over that leadership role too. I've seen him pretty active over the past couple of months on social media and whatnot. We've definitely brought this up before, but what the Eagles have going for them that the rest of the division does not is we're the only team that has the same head coach as we had last year and the same system. So, I definitely think the other 3 teams are a severe disadvantage in that regard, with the Cowboys being the least. McCarthy's a proven head coach, a winner. So is Rivera, but he doesn't have a Super Bowl. No,
I think Rivera only might have one winning season on his record, though. It's not really. He's not been.
Yeah, he had that. He had that.
He's more of a fan favorite.
Season,
yeah,
and then he was average since then.
I'll tell you this: Doug Peterson's the only really good head coach in that division right now. Even Mike McCarthy. I'll say Doug Peterson's the only really good coach in that division. And that gives you a huge advantage.
Yeah, the thing I like about Doug is he's very good under pressure. Like, in these crucial games that the Eagles have had to win the last 3 years, he's shown that he can manage the game properly. And I've read some stuff that Mike McCarthy's not that good at managing games.
Well, there was reasons Aaron Rodgers didn't get along in Green Bay at the end of everything.
Yeah,
I find it funny that Peterson is a Andy Reid coaching tree product, and his entire until the Super Bowl, Andy Reid was always criticized for being a poor game manager.
Mm-hmm.
But since Doug took over the Eagles, it's been I don't think we've ever discussed him really screwing up down the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. Andy Reid's coaching tree is unreal. He has people on every level in coaching. He's had Harbaugh from Minnesota, or the Ravens. He was a special teams coach for the Eagles in the 90s.
I mean, just off the top of my head, Harbaugh, Peterson, and Nagy.
Yeah.
Bieniemy's going to get a head coaching job next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he deserves
got one this year
for sure. He should have gotten one this year, 100%. But yeah, I think I love Doug. But and the best is when Kelsey at the Super Bowl parade. So when he's talking about the analyst, some fucking idiot named, I forget what the guy's name was.
Mike Lombardi.
Doug Peterson, Mike Lombardi, as the worst head coaching hire in the NFL this year. I forget what he said after that. That was insane.
Yeah, now just to backtrack a little bit, last year the Eagles went 9-7 and they won the division, but it came down really to a week 16 game against the Dallas Cowboys. They won that course 17-9, and Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott just really didn't even show up for that game. And that put them over the 8-8 Dallas Cowboys for the season. That won them the division pretty much.
And what I can't stand about that game is you listen to Cowboys fans. Oh, Dak had a hurt shoulder that game. Blah blah blah. Like no. Carson Wentz had 3 practice squad receivers. He didn't have his right tackle. He didn't have Didn't Brooks get hurt in that game, or was that?
I think it was a week earlier, maybe. Let me look.
Yeah, well, he had so many misses.
Did Ertz play in that game?
No, that's what it was. Ertz got hurt. That's
because he had the fractured rib.
Yeah,
he was out. I think he was out week 16 and 17, and then he played. Or he got hurt across the middle on like first quarter in that game. I remember he got smashed right in the ribs. He might have finished that game out though. I don't remember.
He did have 4 catches that game.
Yeah,
he definitely missed. He definitely missed the Week 17 matchup against the Giants.
Yep.
And but he played in the playoff loss.
Yeah, I just think with the Eagles, there's more of a they don't panic when they're down, and I think that's what's really been helping them win the division last year, and then 2017 they won the division. So I think that gives them a big advantage over Dallas.
Yeah, I'll say this. You mentioned the defensive side of the ball. I think that's huge for Philly because Dallas does have Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith, who I really like both those guys. But otherwise, it's kind of just a patchwork of veterans.
Stacked at LB.
Yeah, it's otherwise just a patchwork of veterans, though. And even on the offensive side of the ball, look at what Philly did to them in Week 16 last year. In that matchup, it was 17-9. Dallas only got 9 points. Dak went 25 for 44 for 265 yards, no touchdowns. Zeke ran the ball 13 times for only 47 yards. And Amari Cooper had 4 catches for 24 yards.
And he pulled himself out on the fourth down.
Yeah, and he got pulled out.
Yeah. And they were the number one offense.
Did he not? I thought he subbed himself out.
It doesn't really matter, does it? I mean, if you're sitting on that bench at the very end of the game when you need you the most on the field, if you're sitting there, I mean, you can't count on that player. So
no.
I will say, I think the other advantage the Eagles seem to have, especially over the Cowboys, not saying this doesn't exist or won't exist with the Giants and Redskins, but I feel like the locker room of the Eagles is very close-knit, whereas I don't really get the same energy from the Cowboys team. Like last year, BG and Malcolm, they all came out after lost to the Dolphins and said they had a players-only meeting, we're gonna be okay. And then they won 4 straight games to win the division.
Most teams would.
I don't think you see that happens on the Cowboys. I think that the Cowboys were in that position. They lose Week 13 to Miami in a game that shouldn't even be close. I don't think they bounce back and win 4 in a row. In fact, I think they probably implode and miss the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about great locker room guys, you've had great locker room guys for a while now. I mean, you still had Jason Kelsey, and you had Chris Long before. I know he's getting retired now, but you had Chris Long for a while. He was another guy. And you just had those.
I love when Chris Long was on the team.
Dude, he's funny as hell to follow on Twitter, man. But
I was just gonna say, do you follow him on Twitter? He's a riot.
But I don't think Dallas has that, and especially because the contract situations they dealt with, where Amari Cooper wanted to get paid and Zeke wanted to get paid, and now Dak's now attending the online meetings or however you want to say, the online trading that they're doing or something like that. He says he's not going to show up.
He's not.
Yeah, not for the actual training camp, but for the online stuff or whatever they're trying to do over the summer. They said he wasn't going to show up for that kind of stuff.
Well, did you see what Joe Theismann said earlier in the week? He, I don't know if it was on a talk show. I read the article a few days ago, but he was he called Dak out. He was like, "You are not a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. You are insane not to take 35 over 5,
Mm-hmm.
35 each year. And the only reason he wants the 4-year deal is because he's trying to get in on the what's it
TV
called?
contract money.
On the new TV contract. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head how old he is, but
Well, he must have played most of his career at Mississippi State. I don't think he was a guy who was valued high enough to come out too early. But he is 26 years old.
He's 26, so he'll play his. He turns 27 in July, so he'll play his age 27 season under a franchise tag, more than likely.
Yeah.
And but if he accepts that 5 years deal now, he's getting a new deal when he's 31,
31, 32 at the latest.
31. Like
that's still your prime.
For a quarterback, it's the middle of his prime. He'd his next contract would be the rest of his prime and then his downturn.
Yeah, because Russell Wilson is 31 years old now. He just signed a contract last offseason. So, I mean, that's a guy who, I mean, Dak would be in the same situation as Russ, basically.
And I don't know. I think it comes off to probably other teams, at least it would to me. Like, why would you want to, like, this guy's clearly in it for the money. He's not in it. He's not willing to take one extra year in his deal for the team because he's trying to make more money.
You also look at
dollars is more than how many guys on that roster are making over their entire contracts.
Yeah, and if you look at other teams, like I'll just use the Eagles for example because I know them the most, obviously. But like you look at like when the Eagles extend players like Ertz or Wentz, like when they did the Wentz contract, it came out of nowhere. It was quiet, nobody heard about it. And then you look at the Cowboys, like they had this whole thing with Dak. It's been a year-long thing, and then if you go back to last year with Zeke, I mean he wasn't signed until what? Like a week before the season started?
Dude, Zeke was in Mexico working out by himself or something like that.
Yeah, you don't see like other teams having issues with signing players and making them so public. In Dallas, I think that's a problem Dallas has. They make everything way too public.
Well, Dallas has to be a media circus, and part of that is on Jerry Jones, just wanting to have the attention on America's quote-unquote team, whatever you want to call it. But it's really just a distraction for the team, I think, at this point, because you want to have all your guys on board based on what you have right now, and you just don't have that. I mean,
especially during what we're living through right now. Like,
you have to have your guys.
This uncertainty.
Yeah, you gotta have guys buying in because you don't know. And you got a new head coach too. You just mentioned that you're trying to put in a new head coach, and you still have your same OC as last year, so maybe that won't change. But you're trying to add a new leadership group up front, and you're trying to do that through quarantine and through this whole pandemic. So it's going to be interesting to see how Dak gets used to that when he comes back and decides to be part of the organization again. In the meantime, again, Andy Dalton is probably the best backup quarterback in football. So
yeah, that's a great option for them. But
I think it gives Dallas all the leverage in the world to say, hey, we could probably win games without you, honestly.
Yeah, and going back to the we were saying, Matt, about the locker room with the Eagles. I think another problem Dallas has too is they were talking about it on the on ESPN that they put so much pressure on their players just because of like you said, Sam, they're America's team or whatever. But like that's a lot of pressure on those young guys. Like CeeDee Lamb wearing number 88 with Dez Bryant and Michael Irvin wearing that.
I find that so odd. He picked his number for him.
That's a lot of pressure on that kid. I mean, he's what, 20, 21, 22 years old? And you want him to perform like Hall of Fame wide receivers? That's tough to.
Yeah, like it's nuts. It really is.
Well, Jerry Jones is obsessed with finding his new Troy Aikman, and he just wants basically his new Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. He just wants his new trio, pretty much.
Yeah, he's trying to live in the past, and that's why the Cowboys haven't won anything in 30 years.
I mean, and you think about it, though. Amari Cooper's got to be, what do you think, Teets? Top 10 wide receiver in the league?
Close to the end, maybe top 10, maybe top 12, 15.
Yeah, fringe top 10.
Fringe top 10. He's a hell of a talent.
I'd take him over any Eagles receiver. So.
Yeah, I would as well. Strictly based on talent-wise. That's not saying, like, I don't love his attitude. I don't think he'd fit well in Philly. But, like, realistically, CeeDee Lamb's coming in, and he's the third option. Like, I don't know. It seems like he's just trying to make him or crown him the next Irving before he's
You want CeeDee Lamb to be better than Amari Cooper, the guy who just paid $100 million to over the next 5 years.
Yeah, wouldn't you want Amari Cooper wearing the $100 million man wearing number 88?
Exactly. It's just a weird situation. You're giving
odd.
the jersey to a rookie when you just paid this man who's made like multiple Pro Bowls. So
It's a weird situation. There's no other
I
team
will
like
say
the
though,
Dallas Cowboys.
they are absolutely loaded on
Oh
offense.
yeah.
Though.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'd say
I mean,
Dallas drafted incredibly well. I give them that. Dallas drafted probably had one of the top 5 draft hauls, we'll say, in this year. Because you got CeeDee Lamb, who's just the best player available kind of situation. You take him. You get a center from Wisconsin and Tyler, I can't say his last name, Biazdaz. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but you got him in like the 4th round. That guy could potentially start this coming year. Replace
Frederick.
So you get potential.
Frederick.
Yeah, you get a potential starter there. On defensive side of the ball, Neville Gallimore will start next year when Gerald McCoy and Dante Poe are gone. And Trevon Diggs should start cornerback right away. So they get a pretty good job drafting. I still think that defense is just a patchwork of veterans, though, really, with 2 linebackers and center.
Yeah, they're going to be relying on their rookies to make immediate impacts.
Oh yeah,
because I don't know their cap situation, but
it's not great.
I would assume it's more than 50% of it's got to be on the offensive side of the ball.
When you also paid DeMarcus Lawrence, I think last year, and he played terrible.
Yeah.
So you played Jalen Smith. You played Jalen Smith a pretty fair contract. He's probably outplayed that already, but. I mean, you've paid guys. You've paid guys real money now. So I don't know.
Yeah, those guys that you all paid, like they better show up this year.
Oh, seriously, yeah.
Cowboys have around 7.3 million cap space right now for this coming season. And next year they have 31 million. So
but even if you're trying to get like a stud in free agency. With 31 million, you can get maybe one high-profile free agent, and that's
they got a little wiggle room. But if they end up signing Dak, which they probably will, but that wipes away your.
I would think he's going to end up signing there.
Yeah,
that would be
he's not going anywhere.
Guess.
Yeah, just to put that in perspective, the Indianapolis Colts had like 86 million in cap space or something like this is coming into this offseason. Like they had a ridiculous amount of money.
The Eagles?
No, the Indianapolis Colts. They had like
the Colts. Yeah, the Colts had an insane amount.
Yeah, so that's what if you're looking to rebuild a team or to build a team into a championship caliber team in a single offseason. I mean, Miami was up there too. You have to have about 80 million cap space open. Dallas isn't going to be anywhere near that.
And a lot of draft picks too.
Yeah.
You want
something else Dallas doesn't have a ton of in the coming seasons. But let's transition. Let's start looking at Philadelphia's schedule. I've got it pulled up here. And based on what you're looking at, Justin, what do you think is a reasonable record for Philadelphia this coming year?
Well, first, I see them easily starting 3-0, and I could see them realistically like 6-2 by the bye.
I got them 6-2 at the bye as well.
Overall, I think their peak is 11-5. I think the lowest they'll be is 9-7. But if they go 11-5, the toss-up game I had was Green Bay, so I think they'll either be 10-6 or 11-5, somewhere in there. I don't think they'll be much better than that, though.
Duff, what do you think?
So, I see the schedule at Washington. That should be a win right off the bat. Home against the Rams. I'm not a Jared Goff believer whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that good. I think
owned the Rams the last couple of years.
I think the Rams should have taken Wentz number 1 overall. So I think that's a win. Then we go Joe Burrow week 3. That should be a win. That you shouldn't let a rookie QB in his 3rd start come into Philly and beat you.
One thing I did read with Bengals though, the Eagles haven't beat. I didn't know this. The Eagles haven't beaten the Bengals in 20 years.
Yeah, I think
kind of crazy.
2 losses and a tie, maybe, or 3 losses and a tie.
Yep.
And then, so this is where it gets interesting. So, Teets, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think about that Week 5 matchup in Pittsburgh?
Dude, that's one of my toss-up games for Philly, honestly. That's one of the things I think is up in the air because you're in Pittsburgh. And really, it all comes down to
and we were just in San Fran the week before.
Yeah.
Back-to-back road games.
It all comes down to Big Ben. I haven't seen him play yet. But if this is, let's say, 85% of Ben Roethlisberger from 2018, you're probably going to be in a very much of a shootout game. You're going to have to score about 30 points if you want to keep up with Pittsburgh, and you might have trouble doing that against our defense. So I know we don't have Antonio Brown anymore, but the one thing Ben does throughout his entire career is you just give him a receiver and he turns him into a Pro Bowler. He did with Mike Wallace, Antonio Brown, Emmanuel Sanders. It doesn't really matter. He just takes first weapons and makes them great. So I think
your point is if Roethlisberger comes back and plays the way he's capable of, to win that game is gonna be a shootout.
It'd be very difficult. Let me say this: I'll give you a better chance of beating Green Bay than beating Pittsburgh. I think it's honestly that situation.
Better chance of beating Green Bay in December than Pittsburgh Week 5. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's that kind of situation.
I will say though, Green Bay's really poor draft.
That's really gonna affect them big time.
Aaron Rodgers has always shown he's Aaron Rodgers, and he's got Devontae Adams, obviously. So, but Adams had trouble staying healthy. So is Rodgers. They've got really no one behind them. What Valdez Scantling maybe, and Equanimeous St. Brown.
Lazard was the best second option last year.
So I don't even know who their tight end is right now because it's not Graham.
Was it Mercedes? Is Mercedes Lewis still there?
He's the
he is. I think
that Rodgers ever thrown a touchdown to. So, but back to weeks 4 and 5. I think the Eagles could go into San Francisco and win.
It's a primetime game, 8:00. So
it's a Sunday nighter. It'll be their first big test of the season. I mean, I don't know. If the Eagles' offense explodes, which I think it could because they got so much faster, and when I say that, like, just having Rager, is it Rieger or Rager? I don't even know, Justin. How pathetic is that?
I think it's Rager. I think it's Rager.
Rager?
Yeah.
All right, we'll roll with Rager. With Rager and hopefully healthy Deshaun Jackson able to take the top off the defense, I'm not even so worried about them putting up big touchdowns and yardage numbers along with Goodwin. I want to see them open up the middle and underneath of the field for Ertz and Goddard. And then the screen game for Sanders and Scott. Like, I think the Eagles could absolutely kill teams underneath this year.
I like your point about
so many dynamic players.
I like your point about San Francisco too, because I was just thinking about it. Like, the Eagles have had one of the great top run defenses in the league last couple of years, and San Fran relies on that. And I think the Eagles, for the most part, when they play,
Jimmy G's probably the worst quarterback in that division.
Yeah, probably close. I don't know. I think I would say Goff is probably the worst, but I mean, I think they would be able to hold their own against San Fran, especially their defense is a different story. I think they would need to score at least like 24 points to beat San Francisco.
Well, I'll say this: Pittsburgh played San Francisco in Week 3 last year with Mason Rudolph starting at quarterback, and they only lost 20-24. So I think the 49ers are a team that starts slow during the year because I think Garoppolo took time to warm up. Mm-hmm. They also are a team without the offensive weapons that they have, like receivers, because once they got Emmanuel Sanders, they were much better. They don't have Emmanuel Sanders anymore. They've got a rookie in Brandon Ayuk who's going to take a little while to warm up. So I think that could take a little while.
Samuel here too.
Yeah. I do like Debo, but I think it's going to take a little while for that offense to get going in San Francisco. And another thing, the last team to repeat as NFC champs, or really even be good after they went to the Super Bowl from the NFC and lost, was basically Seattle. And that's been a while. So the Rams fall off, the Panthers pretty much fall off, the Falcons aren't the same. So based on just what we've seen in recent history, there's a good chance the 49ers are not nearly what they were last year.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I think they could feel it, but
I agree with you, Sam, though. I definitely think San Fran is probably not necessarily going to start slow, but I think they'll finish stronger than they start.
Yeah. So
I think the Eagles can come back home to a week six matchup with the Ravens at 4-1.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a split between San Fran and the Steelers.
Yeah, I think it would be extremely difficult to go to San Fran and then to Pittsburgh and win both those games. But I mean, anything's possible, right?
Then
the
your
week 6 game,
Baltimore.
I don't know. I mean, I want to say they'll win that game.
I had them losing.
But I think if I'm going to pick a home game for them to lose in this first half of the season, it's definitely the Ravens game, 100%.
I just think it's a stacked Baltimore team.
They got, and then Baltimore is stacked. They're going to be nasty. Week 7, Thursday nighter, home against the Giants. If they don't win that game, I'm going to jump off my roof.
I mark up the Giants. Giants games are wins every year until they can prove that they can beat the Eagles. They haven't beat them since 2016. So
they own the Giants on Thursday night.
They own them in general.
I mean, and so they're going to be on a short week. So as long as the Eagles are relatively healthy, week 7, they win that game. And then you're going to give Doug an extra 4 days to prepare for Sunday night Dallas at home. Oh, come on. That game, that's my game I'm most looking forward to in that definitely first half of the season.
Then you come off the bye. Then you come off the bye and you play the Giants again in MetLife. But I mean, Eagles fans travel so well; it could be a home game for them.
They should win that game, and then you're going into Cleveland. I mean, can Cleveland maybe put it together this year? Does Baker,
they usually collapse around.
Yeah, Teets is like, nah.
Come on, man. I've been watching the Browns my whole life, man. This is not they're not putting anything together here.
No. So I think after 11 weeks, I think the Eagles are 8-2 with losses to the Ravens and a split week 4 and 5 with Niners and Steelers.
And then these next 3 weeks are the toughest 3 weeks that I can remember the Eagles having
12,
to go into.
12 through 16 is an absolute brutal stretch.
Yep.
If they win 2 games, weeks 12 through 16, I think we're probably pretty happy.
Because you're opening up 12 with a game against the Seattle Seahawks.
Yep, and that's another thing. The Eagles haven't beaten Seahawks in 20, 25 years. So
I think that game, I think is probably one a lot of Eagles players are marking on their calendars because it's like get the monkey off your back because they haven't beaten. They've lost to Seattle 5 times in the past 3 or 4 years. Russell Wilson has their number. They get an extra day. It's a Monday nighter at home under the lights. It's going to be a good game.
Eagles haven't beaten the Seahawks since 2008. They've had 6 matchups since then. They've lost every single one.
Including 2 last year.
Yep.
2 last year, and then
1 in 2017, 1 in 2016. Yep.
So 16, 17, and 2 last year.
Yep, and then 2014 they lost, and they lost 2011. So
Russell Wilson's a bad man.
He's awesome. He needs to win an MVP already.
The worst part was that the Eagles would have taken him had the Seahawks not. We ended up with Foles, so that worked out. But gosh, could you imagine that? I think about that all the time. If Wilson was an Eagle,
I always think about Chip Kelly not trading Foles away. We would have never had Wentz.
What'd you say?
I said I always think about Chip Kelly. What if he never traded away Nick Foles the first time? What would have happened there?
Yeah, talk about the Eagles have gone through a pretty awesome or pretty wild past 15 years.
Yeah, it's weird.
With, what is it, 3 straight NFC Championships appearances or 4?
Only it was 4. It was 4, and they lost 3. 3 in a row.
4 in a row, lost 3. And then they finally did it. That was great. Talk about a relief. But back to this.
What's up?
Mm-hmm?
I was going to say,
going back to the schedule.
Yeah, after you get out of Seattle, you get Green Bay. And that's the one I think that one's definitely winnable. Because I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to look like this coming year, but based on what Green Bay looked like last year, Green Bay looked honestly much worse than they actually were. They had a really good winning record, but when I watched Green Bay play, they looked beatable. They didn't look like usual.
They had 12 or 13, right? I think they had 12.
I think they were. I thought they were 13-3.
Hey, let me pull it up. Oh, that's not what I'm supposed to do. Hang on, let me look real quick. They won a lot of games. It was more than I expected. They went 13-3.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, they didn't. They definitely didn't look like a 13-win team.
No, they didn't.
Excuse me. The other game players are circling is that Saints game, Week 14. That's another team that's had our number. The Saints and the Seahawks.
I see the trap game being Week 15 against Arizona. I don't know why. I marked it as a win, but I see it as a trap. I don't know why.
I also have it marked as a win, but yeah, I think, especially if they beat New Orleans Week 14, which I think they can because that'll be New Orleans' third straight road game. It's going to second week in December. Obviously, Breeze plays better in the dome. That team does as a whole. So I think there's a lot of positives surrounding Week 14 and them beating the Saints. So I have that down as a win personally. But then you're all high off that win. You go into Arizona, who's
that's why I see it.
If Kyler Murray takes the jump like Winston is the second year and avoids doing like Goff and Baker did, with D-Hop, Kenyon Drake, no, right? He's still on that team.
Yep.
They signed him because they traded David Johnson. Still got that man. Talk about a bad man.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of things to like in Arizona.
Yeah. They got Isaiah Simmons.
Should the Eagles win that game? Probably, but I don't know.
I think the Cardinals will be better than the Rams this year. So.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm so anti Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
I think they're one of the most overrated teams in football.
Well, they made a lot of bad decisions. They allocated money where they shouldn't have too early, and now they've given up all their draft picks. And they don't have any cap space left to actually deal with all of their aging players who have to replace in the next coming years. So basically, they're going downhill really quickly.
Yeah,
I can see getting fired in 2 years.
And I mean, they got to the Super Bowl, right? So like they achieved something, but you gotta
win it. You gotta win.
They haven't had a first round pick in 6 years. After the 2022 season, it'll be 6 years because they've traded every single one away.
Well, I mean, they were just trying to keep that window open, I guess, right? And they missed.
And they also, I just googled their dead cap. They have $22 million in dead cap, which is the largest in NFL history.
That's the Gurley thing, right? It's got to be Gurley.
It's Gurley and Cooks. Yeah.
Speaking of the Rams, I know we were texting about this the other day, but why have they not paid Matthews or Gurley yet?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I don't like you said. I don't know. There's no great reason they don't have to pay them yet, and that's the only reason the Rams have decided for not doing it. They've just said, "Well, we don't have to pay them, so we're not doing it right now."
Yeah, they'll push it to the limit.
June 1, I guess. But like you're building SoFi Stadium, the scoreboard was going up a few days ago. Just pay the man his money because you're just getting your organization roasted on Twitter, and it's a bad look.
So
players can't love seeing that.
So my losses for the Eagles were originally it was the 49ers, the Ravens. I actually have them losing to Dallas first matchup in Philly, and I have them losing to Seattle. I did have the Saints on there as a loss, but I don't know. That could be a toss-up depending on how you look at it.
I think they'd be more likely to beat the Saints than the Seahawks.
Yeah, definitely. But I just see them losing to Dallas. What is that, week 8? I see them losing to week 8 because I feel like week 16 they're just going to bring it. There's more pressure on Dallas. It's going to come down to that game being the division championship game, and the Eagles are going to bring it. I already know it.
Yeah, they're definitely going to bring it. I second that. I think so. From the top, I already said I think they're 6-2 coming out of the bye. I think they beat Giants and Browns, so 8-2 going into that brutal Week 12 stretch. I mean, I think it's super realistic for them to split and go 2-2 between 12 and 15, which would be 10-4. And then that leaves you at Dallas and home against Washington. So Washington, I think they win both those games.
So you have them 12-4?
Yeah. And now, of course, I think, maybe 11-5. Maybe they do split with Dallas.
Yeah.
That's realistic. I also think, they could, I don't know, they could potentially lose, at San Fran, at Pittsburgh. So, I think they're going to be there'll be a double-digit win team. I think they're going to be between 10 and 12 wins. I think they win the division.
I think you both agree they're going to win this division, right?
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I think they're going to get – I'll give them 10 wins. I think they're going to get 10 wins, but they're going to be a strong 10-win team going to the playoffs. I'll say that. Because once they get to the playoffs, if they're healthy, because that's something we have to state because they haven't been healthy in the last couple of years. But if they're healthy, Carson's healthy, Charleston and Doug Peters are going to be a wrecking ball in the playoffs, I think. Even if you're the lowest seed, or even if you're the 4 seed, I think you'll still be one of the most deadly 4 seeds out there.
And, the Eagles have had the second oldest roster behind the Patriots last 2-3 years, and they've gotten so much younger this year. So I think I'm hoping the injury thing is behind them, but I think it's done with now.
Yeah, I expect them to be much healthier because, as Justin said, they got younger, they got faster, and they specifically were in free agency in the draft looking at guys who could run, who wanted to play, and who were healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So those were the 3 grading criteria I think we talked about in the last video. If they didn't do anything else, they definitely got faster in the draft.
Yep.
So, I mean, you had 3 receivers that are 4-3 talents, Davion Taylor, Hurts is mobile. You added both Auburn tackles. So I think they've done a lot of good things in free agency. Javon Hargrave, I love it. I think Teets loves it as well. I think he's
it's perfect for Philadelphia.
He thinks it's perfect. I think they're going to be a really strong team, and they do have the 8th easiest schedule, and the Cowboys have the easiest schedule. I read that the other day. You can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty certain.
I think Baltimore, in terms of winning percentage, Baltimore has the easiest schedule.
I think
work.
Yeah, I never understood that.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I think the Giants are going to be somewhat competitive this year. I don't see them being 9-7, 8-8. They'll probably be more likely 6-10, but I think they can be more competitive than they have in recent years.
I was talking to Gil about this earlier in the week, and I definitely think if they can keep Daniel Jones clean, if the offensive line is better, that's just going to open it up for Saquon, and then
and they bolstered that line. Didn't they draft 2 linemen in the draft? I think.
Yes, they did.
And that was their weakness.
Yeah, I think it's realistic that they could get 6 wins.
6, 7. 7 would be their peak, but 6 is definitely doable.
They won't. I mean, I think it's going Birds, Cowboys, Giants, Redskins, and I think the Redskins are going to have possibly might be the number 1 draft pick next year.
I looked at the Redskins schedule. I have them starting 0-8 for the season. So
here, I have it up here. I've only looked at the Eagles, but I have them all up. And you've got, let's see, home against the Birds, at Cardinals, at Browns, home against Ravens, home against Rams, at Giants, home against Cowboys.
Yeah, I have them 0-8.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, maybe beat they're at MetLife, at Browns, maybe 2 wins in that first 8 weeks.
Depending how the Browns season goes.
Then home against Giants, at Lions, home against Bengals, at Cowboys on Thanksgiving, at Steelers, at 49ers, home against the Seahawks, home against the Panthers, at the Birds. That is a brutal last 6 weeks.
Yeah. The 6 weeks are terrible.
Crap.
I think
those are 6 losses.
Yeah, the best chances for them to win, honestly.
The 2 Giants games.
The Giants games, the Browns, I think.
I had the Lions
and the
as
Bengals.
One of their wins too.
Lions. Maybe I would say instead of the Bengals, I'd say the Panthers probably.
Yeah.
just because
not,
it's Teddy Bridgewater versus Dwayne
Mhm.
Haskins. So I have faith in Joe Burrow, and since I think Cincinnati actually addressed a lot of their needs in the
I
draft,
have
I think they
faith in
got a lot
Burrow
better.
too. Yeah, I'm the biggest Burrow fan you meet. I thought that kid was an NFL QB in a college jersey last year. So
Yeah, I think he'll be good. I think Cincinnati got better, where they won't be a bottom tier team. I think they'll be in the same class as the Giants, pretty much. I think
yeah,
that's what the Bengals
they'll
will be
be
this
competitive.
year.
They're not going to be
That's-
good, but they'll be
fair.
competitive.
Yeah, that's what I think they're going to be. They're going to be around that 6 to 7 win range, I think.
But I
think
think back to the
Washington-
Skins. I think you gotta cap them at 4 wins, maybe.
Yeah.
I think
I have them
that's
3-13.
optimistic.
Now, let me ask you this: is there a chance the Redskins change quarterbacks at some point this season? Justin, what do you think about the quarterback situation potentially unfolding in Washington?
Oh, so you're thinking switching to Kyle Allen, right?
Well, Kyle Allen's the backup, and you also got some guys. You got Alex Smith rehab, and I don't know what's going on there. And you got Cam Newton in free agency.
I think
I didn't even think about
Haskins will
Newton in
start.
free agency because
Yeah,
Rivera.
Haskins will start, but I think they're going to put him on a short leash. If he's not performing well by like week 4 or 5, okay, I think you'll see Kyle Allen in there. And then that's just going to make a worse dumpster fire because it's not going to be any better.
I think Rivera might give Haskins a little more leeway than just 1 month. I don't think he'll get the whole season, but I think you could see. Well, Alex Smith. I mean, I hope he comes back and plays. I really do.
That would
But
be a
who
great
knows?
story.
And I do like the Newton point, Teets, because if Rivera's like, hey, like you're gonna come start. This kid stinks. Like, why would Cam not do that? I mean, the most important thing for him is getting a starting job and then being able to parlay that into future success.
I think if you're 5 weeks into the season and Alex Smith is not going to be coming back, then I think you just call Newton, hey, what about 1 year deal here? And if you come out and do anything basically in Washington, you're set up for a starting job next year.
And probably a multi-year contract.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just come out here and prove it. Now, I do think Alex Smith is at 75% of what he was when he got hurt. He's still 100% better than Dwayne Haskins.
Yep, he's better than both of them.
Yeah. So I think I would love to see Alex Smith come back, and that's my ultimate fantasy for Washington. I don't love Washington, but if there's something that's going to happen, I would have.
I'll be down a little bit
and carry them to a few wins.
Mm-hmm.
But what about Dallas? Let me pivot back to Dallas because we talked about really the Giants and the Redskins. But where do you think Dallas is going to end up here with their schedule?
Dallas, I have them starting hot. I think they're going to be similar to last year. They're going to come out the gates pretty good, and their second half of the schedule is just brutal as well. I mean, they got the Eagles twice, they got the Steelers, Vikings, Ravens, 49ers. That's tough. So
baby.
You can call all those teams playoff teams this year.
So they got a week 10 bye, and then they're going to Minnesota, home against the Skins, to Baltimore, then to Cincinnati, home against the Niners, home against the Eagles, at the Giants. That's no fun.
No.
I mean, I think they're not going into Seattle and beating them. Lock it up. If Russ Wilson is playing in that game, you bet the house on the Seahawks. At Rams, I mean, that'd be sort of great if they lose in LA for week 1.
That's what I had them actually. I had them losing against Rams week 1.
But now that I think about it, the Rams do have Ramsey, so you should be able to probably eliminate Cooper from that game. So then you're relying on Gallup and CD, and that team comes down to Zeke. Let's be real. So I've said that the past 5 years. Zeke is the engine of the Cowboys, not Dak.
I had Dallas 1-2 out the gates, and then winning 4 in a row, going into the Philly game, and then after that, I don't know what they're going to do. So 6-2 coming into the Philly game. 5-2. Sorry.
Yeah, I think 5-2 or 6-1 coming into the Philly game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think probably week 8. I think that game in Philadelphia is probably going to be whoever wins that game will probably take the lead in the division.
Yeah, most likely.
But then, I mean, that's tough. You got to go into Philly, and then you're coming back home to face the Steelers. It's not a gimme. Definitely not. And I mean, like you were saying earlier, Teets, if Roethlisberger is, 75% Roethlisberger, that defense is going to be good. There's no reason to think that.
Going against Dallas's cornerback, so I can't even tell you besides Trevon Diggs they just drafted. I think Anthony Brown's their next best corner on that roster. So
they got
a Woozy.
That's right.
But he's inconsistent. He's good, but he's not a number one.
No, I think I like the Steelers coming into Dallas. And they go on bye at Minnesota. I think that's a loss. But they're coming off the bye. I don't know. Toss up. Home against the Skins. Wouldn't be surprised to see them go loss at Ravens, at Bengals.
Yeah, especially if the way we're talking about the Bengals being competitive. They could definitely lose that game.
If you look at that, week 13, I don't think a 4-game skid is out of the question.
Which ones are you looking at?
Weeks 13 through 16, Ravens, Bengals, Niners, Eagles.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. Especially if they lose the Ravens and then they lose to the Bengals, and you got it. What do they got here? They got to go into San Francisco, or they're home against San Francisco. I don't know.
I'm gonna call them. I'll call them 6-2 after week 8, and 6-3 on the bye. And we'll give them the Skins and Bengals losses to the Vikings and Ravens. So that would be 9-5, I believe.
No,
that's wrong.
8-5.
Loss 8-5. Yeah, they'd be 8-5 going home to play the 49ers. So they get Niners, Eagles, and then go to the Giants to finish the season out.
They could be 8-8 again. It could very well be an 8-8 season.
I think 9-7's not out of their region. They could go 9-7, but I don't think they're going to get 10.
I think they could go 10-6 based on how that offense. If they can keep together this year and not just have a total collapse, I think they could reach 10 wins. But I think that's their peak.
Yeah, I think Dallas is an 8-10 team, 8-10 win team. And I think Dallas will, if they're around that 10 win mark, I think that week 16 matchup will probably be for the division against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
But I think even if, say, the Eagles are maybe 2 games up going into week 16, I still think that Dallas will be competing for a wild card. I think it is very feasible that the NFC East does send 2 teams to the playoffs this year.
I think it definitely will. Because it's what? Is it 6 teams now?
I think it's still the same this year. I think. I'm not sure.
It doesn't change until next year, does it? Yeah. I'm not positive.
I'm not either.
I don't believe it changes until it becomes a 17-game season.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'll look it up right now.
Either way, it's potential there because I don't trust the NFC North sent 2 teams last year in Green Bay and Minnesota. I don't think they're going to send 2 this year. I think the NFC North is going to fall apart a little bit. So the Vikings and Packers both got worse. So
so they'll probably only send whatever team wins the division.
Yeah. What's up, Justin?
NFL playoff schedule expanding to 14 teams beginning 2020 season.
Yeah. So I guess where. So is it only the top team in each conference gets a bye, and then wild card weekend is 3-3, 3 games and 3 games?
Yeah, wild card weekend is 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday.
AFC and NFC wildcard games will feature 2 hosting 7, 3 hosting 6, 4 hosting 5. 3 games on Saturday, January 9th, 3 games on Sunday, January 10th. Yeah, so that's
so it's 2 extra spots in each.
That's one extra wild card. So
Oh,
it goes the division. So it's just we're gonna see three wild
So
card
if that's
spots.
how it is, I'll take two teams from the NFC South, probably the Saints and Buccaneers. I'll take one from the North, whoever wins it. I'll take Seattle and San Francisco, and I'll take Philly and Dallas. I think those will probably be the teams.
That's what
I
I
like
think
that.
too.
And in the NFC North, with that Bears defense, I wouldn't be surprised if they are somewhat in the hunt for that division crown about
Don't count
halfway
out Foles.
through the season.
Yeah, if they play Nick Foles, they're not getting anywhere to play Mitch Trubisky. I hate to tell you this.
I'm just saying. I think that defense is so good. If you can put someone at the quarterback position, whether it's Trubisky or Foles, who's playing just half decent football, like they should be in a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh got to an 8-8 record last year with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges at quarterback. So I mean, if you have a good defense, you can win games in the NFL. But
yeah, so that's my 2 cents on it. Who do we think's coming out? Who do we think that extra team coming out of the AFC is?
the AFC?
Mm-hmm.
I think Denver could sneak in.
Interesting.
Here's the AFC. The AFC is going to be weird because it's not going to be the Pats this year. Pats aren't coming back, I don't think.
I think the Bills win that division.
I think the Bills win that division, but I think the Bills are the only team from that division to make the playoffs. I think that's the division that since won.
Yeah, I think that too.
Yeah, I mean,
and I see Steelers Ravens going.
Yeah,
Steelers Ravens definitely. I think. Do you think?
What if it was?
We'll see if we're doing the same thing, Teets.
What if it was Kansas City, Denver, and Los Angeles, all from the AFC West, and just one from the AFC South?
I was even going to say, conversely, you see Texans, Titans, Colts, and only the Chiefs from the AFC West.
Oh, really?
I don't see the Colts making it. I think they're too much. There's too much going on there. I don't think they're a complete team.
Did the Colts add any wide receivers in the draft, or do they just
Michael Pittman Jr.?
Okay. With Phillip Rivers on that team, I don't think it's crazy to think that they're going to be like. I think the AFC South will be the closest division, tightest division race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So,
I think for sure.
I mean, I'm going to pick the Texans to win it. Although, I mean, I think you see Texans, Titans, Chiefs, Steelers, Ravens, Bills, and then one of the Colts, Broncos, Chargers.
Denver's going to surprise a lot of people this year, I think.
I think Denver comes down to Drew Lock pretty much. That's going to be all on Drew Lock. What happens?
Yeah, that's the big key there. But I think they'll be in the hunt for most of the season. They might not make the playoffs, but I think they'll be close.
I think the AFC West will be the most exciting division because it's changed so much because the Chargers added so many pieces on both sides of the ball.
Raiders are Las Vegas.
I just think it's going to be a fun.
That's going to be cool to see the Raiders play in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that'll be
interesting.
Can't wait to see Marcus Mariota starting by week 5.
No, I'm a Derek Carr fan. I
love Derek Carr. I just don't think Gruden is.
Yeah,
you don't think Gruden likes Carr?
I think Gruden wants to replace Carr as soon as possible, and that's why he got Marcus Mariota. He wants someone who can be slightly competitive to give him a reason to place Derek Carr.
I don't think Mariota is not even close to Carr in my opinion.
No, I don't think so either. But I think Gruden doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Gruden.
He likes to take risks, so it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he reaches in the draft a lot, so.
Gruden's buddy with the owner. Yeah, Damon Arnett, that's one. But he's buddy with the owner. He got a 10-year deal. He's not going anywhere. Who cares if he replaces Derek Carr? He's not going to get fired.
No.
Yeah, didn't he got what 10-year, $100 million? Was that what it was?
Yep. Yeah, $100 million.
He's there for the long run.
Talk about crazy job security.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Raiders will be competitive under him. He's going to have to find his quarterback, though.
Oh, yeah. So I like Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is somewhere between the 15th and 12th best quarterback in the NFL. So I do like him. And it's not his fault this team's been bad in the past, but at the same point, I just think Gruden wants someone else.
I got to tell you, I'm really excited to see Tyrod Taylor play on the Chargers.
Nah, it's not going to last. That'll be done quick.
I don't know. I'm excited to see him play. I'm not saying he's going to be the long-term starter, but I think for at least this season,
He's not bad. He wasn't bad in Buffalo.
Yeah. The only concern is that if there's any situation that happens where he gets hurt or misses some time, Herbert comes in, it'll be like Cleveland all over again, where he gets hurt, the veteran comes off, the rookie comes on, then they don't want to take the rookie back off the field again.
Oh, I forgot that. I forgot he was with Cleveland.
Yeah, Baker replaced him by like week 4.
Mm-hmm. And he got him their first win.
And he was Taylor was playing pretty decent football at that time.
Taylor's not awful. He's an efficient quarterback, but I think his ceiling's kind of low in terms of what he can do with you in the win column.
Yep.
Oh, Herbert is definitely the future there, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play at all this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. He's not guaranteed. I think Tua's a guy who is more guaranteed.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of talent on that Chargers team on both sides of the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Between Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, they signed Balaga on a 2 or 3 year deal.
Yeah,
I believe.
Traded for Trey Turner.
Yeah, they definitely did a lot to help whoever is going to be playing quarterback to protect him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and then Bosa, Ingram, they got some talent on that.
Chris Harris.
That's right. I forgot he went there. Who's the corner on the other side?
Casey Hayward.
Casey Hayward. Yeah, dude. Like they've got. I think they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So it comes down to quarterback play, just as it does for the Broncos, just as it does for basically every single team in the NFL, apart from the Cowboys because their quarterback is not their engine. Mm-hmm. I guess you can say the same for the 49ers.
That's true. I think San Francisco would be fine with anyone really like quarterbacks. They just run the ball like crazy.
And Shanahan's so creative.
Yeah, except when it comes to the final quarter of the Super Bowl, in which case, let's not run the ball whatsoever. Let's
he's
throw
creative
the ball
up until the fourth quarter of any Super Bowl. So
yeah, but
hopefully third time will be the charm for him.
Maybe we'll see. But
he's have nightmares about those fourth quarters.
Oh, he absolutely will. He's going to be like shaking. If he ever gets there again, he'll be like shaking by the time the fourth quarter comes around. But we're coming up on 58 minutes here. So final thoughts? Anything you want to add here? Very end.
We hit it all. Just go Birds, baby. Give me 12 wins.
That's I don't know if they'll get 12, but they're going to win the division.
Yeah, I think if I have 12
give me double-digit wins.
What?
But I'm excited. I want football to come back. We need sports back.
We need something, yeah.
That's my final thought.
I need Korean baseball. I don't know. You can't live off Korean baseball. So.
No, I need something a little more. But usually this is the part where I tell Mark, go crazy, give me something to end the show on, but we don't have that right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get Mark Formicelli back in here we've got nothing but time at this point, but for something maybe next week or the week after that, we'll figure it out later. But for now, thank you, dude, for coming on. I really appreciate it. We're going to wrap it up here. So thank you. Hopefully,
appreciate it, brother.
Yep. Thanks, Stuff.
Wags, always a pleasure.